Hey there, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans. Welcome to another episode of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. After Show on AfterBuzz TV. Tonight we are talking about Season 4, Episode 20, Farewell, Cruel World. Coulson and May take the plunge. Gemma goes on a fatal rescue mission. Very, very, terrible rescue mission. And, guys, Aida gets a magic 3D printer. Stay tuned. We're going to talk about it.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
That opening got away from me a little bit. Just a teensy bit.
Almost like they got away from the framework.
Whoa!
Yeah!
Whoa! Going back to Kansas. Woo! Wait, that sounds far
Like
less exciting.
Kansas. It's a place like Kansas. There's a difference.
Kansas-like.
Kansas was in the middle of the Dust Bowl when Dorothy went back. I think she would have been better off in Oz.
Okay,
Just saying. But
That's an interesting argument. We're going to talk about it.
yeah, for sure.
Next on Kansas Talk. Why is most of Kansas City not in Kansas? That doesn't make sense.
Also, does everybody else
Hilarious.
see the world in sepia tone, or is that just her perception of things? We will get down to the nitty-gritty of it, but before we do that, let me introduce my fantastic panel. To my left, Jesse Klein.
Hi everyone, how's it going? You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at JessKlein1. That's JessKlein, the number one.
To his left, Tehran.
Well, currently, Sport Junkies TV fight champion, Tehran Von Ghasri, at
Yes.
I am Tehran, all across the board. Find me, love me, bathrobe heartthrob.
And to his left, Zach Wilson.
I have defeated the Hydra food poisoning that prevented me from being here last week. Find me on Twitter and Instagram at that Zach Wilson.
And I'm Megan Salinas. You guys can tweet at me at the Menguin. That's TheMenguin. We are going to be keeping an eye on the hashtag ABTVMarvel, as well as an eye on the live chat.
Yeah,
So,
I've got you guys.
again, thank you guys so much for staying up late. We know people all around the world are staying up at all different times to catch us live. So thank you guys so
People
much.
around the world are freaking out.
Because the world isn't real. It's
not
all
real.
a lie. It's an illusion.
It's real enough to Mack.
No, it's not.
No.
Wow.
Should we just talk about that? Because I feel like that was the real gut punch of this episode that had multiple gut punches in it. I think, the most probably heart-wrenching part of this episode was, as we all probably could have predicted, Mack being confronted with the truth and choosing not to go back to
It
the
was
real
the
world.
hardest for him, at least, to accept that this wasn't reality. And to we were talking about Kansas versus staying in Oz, and it's hard. What if you went into a place where stuff was theoretically better, where the colors were brighter, where your best friends were a lion and a scarecrow
and a robot man.
Yeah.
Well, with Mack, see, the contention is Mack was the only character in the framework that had an emotional anchor. No one else had an emotional tie to the framework. Mack had a child, and when he says,
Fitz was in
I don't want to
love.
live life without hope.
And his dad. Fitz was in
Fitz
love.
had to
and
be
his dad.
pushed
And what
in.
happened to Dad?
His
Dad
dad
is dead.
Yeah.
And what happened to love interest Ophelia? She's a real girl in the real world.
Fitz didn't choose to. Well, we'll get into that, but Fitz didn't choose to.
He got
live.
pushed in.
Fritz never left, right? So Mack, when faced with the decision, chooses to stay because of his daughter that he's like, I hold her every night. And he says this line, I don't want to live a life without hope. And that's just so much mantra in one line.
I was like, what an idiot. I was like, he's
She's ones
singing,
and zeros, man.
Yeah, he's singing to a bunch of lines of code. That's it.
To his credit, he got a lot of information dropped on him at once
Oh,
because
yeah.
he came on this mission under the pretext of a lie, because he had no one explained the concept of another world to him. He didn't have time to process it.
True.
In the way, obviously May didn't believe it, but she at least was let in on it before, seeing the world around her digitize.
Yeah.
That's definitely the thing that convinced her, okay, yeah, I'll jump into that portal. But Mack gets this bombshell, and he's basically at the steel mill with, that's surrounded by armed guards going, these people are insane, and they lied to me. I don't know why I'm here. The only reason I'm here is because I got this woman arrested on
And
it.
he sees them jump into a giant blue portal in the middle of that CGI was really cool. That blue portal in the middle of the steel
That's
was really
one of the
good
best
looking.
shots of the season.
Was I the only one that just wanted her, like Daisy, to just push him in, like quick him in?
For a minute, I thought that's what she was gonna do.
Once he woke up on the other side,
He'd
like
be fine.
he wouldn't be. He might be like shaken, but he wouldn't be mad.
I don't know if he would have not been mad, because when we saw Fritz become Fitz again in the real world, there was still a lot of elements of Fritz and a lot of feelings of guilt and more. And so we don't know where that's going.
He was devastated.
Of course.
But he was basically like that moment. You're basically shoving two complete sets of memories together, and you like for most of them that had like come back around towards who they were supposed to be.
Sure,
they were ready for that to accept that. But Fitz, he was pushed in, and I think his brain right now, the two versions of him, which are so distinctly like different, are basically at war with one another. So while Fitz is reeling and devastated that Mace is gone, Fritz is like seeing a woman that he loved and like seeing all these people that he hated.
And also, I think Fitz is dealing with the fact that like this is a part of who he was and who he is, and he's like trying to figure out like who that is. Like Mack in this world is basically the same Mack in the framework. Like they're basically the same guy, just one of them has a daughter and the other has Yo-Yo. And like that's the big difference.
But in the real world, Mack has never let go of hope. So Mack would have been equally devastated, just in a different way. It would have been
it would have been his regular way.
It would have been even more intense, because now he's had a hope to hold and touch and feel, and those
it would have been amplified because he got to see what he never had.
And they feel real, regardless of how we want to frame the framework. The framework felt very real.
Sure,
we saw them get shot. They felt the pain. The framework feels real to them. It's just like the Matrix, right?
Yeah.
And so even though just because you know something and it's logic doesn't mean you feel something in that emotion. And so I don't know if you have any children or not, but I know that when it comes to that love between a father and daughter, that's one of the strongest bonds that exists, and it doesn't matter what universe, including the Marvel universe.
But it would feel gross if it wasn't real. Like it would still. I feel like Mack, like even like you would feel somewhere like knowing that this is a computer simulation.
I think he's gonna feel stuck before long. Like right now he's like, no, this is my daughter, but he saw the code of this world. Like he can't. He can only deny that for so long. He's gonna be watching her play. He's gonna be joking with her. Like he says, he's gonna be hanging out with her, watching a movie, and all. I think like all he's gonna be able to think about is the fact that she is a piece of code. And like it's gonna be gnawing at the back of his brain like the entire time.
Also, I know I'm not making any friends with the chat. Like, I am emotionally, I understand where you're coming from emotionally. Like, it's.
By the way, I don't have any kids.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I'm saying? I don't have any kids, so Maury, don't call me.
But anyone here can be empathetic and sympathize with that type of love, and we've seen it and can know what it feels like.
I don't know if you've seen it, because you were you easily dismissed it.
Well, that's because logic is more clear than emotion.
And that's why we have emotion.
And Daisy,
but
Daisy
that kid is just a
out.
bunch of code.
Daisy pointed it out. There were real people in the real world
Yo-Yo.
who love and care about him, Daisy included, and Yo-Yo and the rest of their team.
Sure.
There's a shotgun axe waiting for him at
True.
S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters.
But see, you're asking someone to make a logical decision when emotions, like everyone on this panel might not have kids, but we've been in relationships where it doesn't make sense. It's the wrong thing. You know, but you kind of drag it out. He just happened to drag it out, and it affects.
Yeah, except it wasn't his decision to go into the framework. He left Yo-Yo without him knowing that he left Yo-Yo.
Yeah,
Like
Daisy never explained that.
It wasn't his choice to go into the framework. He was put there against his will. His daughter was forced upon him without consent. Like all this stuff was forced on him.
And we expected him to make a decision within minutes.
Yeah, and
When you see the code of the world break apart, you would jump into that pool.
That's the
I don't
thing.
know. I remember
He
the
had-
one bald guy
he
staying
literally-
in the Matrix.
He literally had no time to process all of this information
Yep.
and to be able to make that decision. And he's such a protective person that, of course, his protective instincts are going to go to the one thing he really knows in this world, even though he knows now that it's not real.
All this being said, I am super hyped for Patriot Trip and Mack to be the new Shield. Like that's awesome.
That would
Like,
be the best.
Yeah,
I want Trip in the Patriot outfit, like going out and being Shield.
Kicking
Like,
Hydra butt.
Chat is torn. Dunmer Champ says, I respect Mack's decision. Anthony Wixer says, I'm with Tehran
yeah.
on this one. Where was the other comment? And then Billie Jean Girl says, I kind of wish Daisy would have knocked Mack out and thrown him into the real world.
I don't expect to make
her
any friends making this argument because it's the
yeah.
logical one, not the
Here's the thing.
emotional one.
There's no good
But I'm with you,
choice
like-
here.
Yeah.
There's no good choice here, as we see, not to get into predictions territory, but as long as he is in the framework, his physical body is in danger.
His real body,
Yeah,
his
his
real self.
body is in danger. If he dies out here, yes, his consciousness will stay in the framework, in theory. Again,
Not
May-
a theory, Radcliffe. So
Yeah.
we see that it is actually practical
But
within
yeah,
the framework.
Ada might have, I don't know, done something. I don't know. She
Who
might
knows?
have changed some specifications. But yeah, if his and that may be where next episode ends. Again, not to get into predictions,
Yeah.
but as that submarine goes down, his body, his physical body could die as that submarine sinks.
I'm not condoning his action.
And then his
I
consciousness is
understand
stuck
it.
there. And
There's a
what about
difference.
poor
I understand
Yo-Yo?
it. I just think it's a bad move.
And it may or may not be, but Mack is a grown-up, and Mack
Well,
made a
here's
decision,
the other-
even if it wasn't
And
the
he
right
made it
decision.
wrong.
Yeah.
Well, and here's the other thing too. I assume that since Daisy and Gemma were able to access the framework remotely, I assume that even if the submarine goes down, the framework will still run. But we don't know that for sure.
Yeah, I have no idea.
If that submarine sinks, the framework could very well shut down or short circuit or something. Go
Here's
ahead.
the other thing that I just like connected the
Yeah.
dots on. They could make a real hope.
They could.
They
They
could
could.
3D print a hope.
They could.
They could.
like a weird.
But now that would be the disgusting factor.
Yeah, that would also be disgusting. where
That's
it's
even
like,
worse.
Because
That's
now
different.
you've created a human based off of code that was based off of the Darkhold. Using Darkhold technology, you've got a real Pet Cemetery scenario
But
going on.
Sometimes dead is better.
Yeah, like
But the interesting debate comes like, so the framework, like we're saying it's all bits of code.
yes.
But like we've commented and the characters have commented on how deep, how real, how layered all the people in this world are. They're emotional. Like these are not just like
But they're
rote-
they're code showing emotion. They're not emotion.
Well, that's debatable because if it was just a straight up computer program,
Yeah.
like a we designed this in VR for we're
this
playing
is
it on
Darkhold.
Oculus,
Yeah.
then yeah, this is a computer programming. But this is the Darkhold. So
But
who's
we
to
have
say
seen-
that
we
the
have seen
Darkhold
nothing-
didn't pull in some kind of soul to these?
I mean,
People.
here's to say, because nothing has ever pointed to that being what's happened. Until there's anything.
There is, though.
I'm
They're
pretty sure the
self-aware.
Darkhold is like powered
How do you
on
know they're
souls
self-aware?
and
Because
sacrifices.
they understand. They are self-aware. And we were discussing the
Yeah.
Star Trek episode
You've-
in Next
With the
Generation with the
holodeck.
holodeck.
But you've-
Moriarty becomes self-aware, and then they keep it running because the question is, what is a soul? So
Yeah.
when you're like, well, there's no
is
proof
getting
that
deep.
we have a soul.
No, there isn't.
There isn't. So we don't know how real we are or not. In fact, some of the the best minds on the
This is
planet
just a
think
dream.
this is a simulation right now.
This is a collective dream.
But I'm saying
if
based
it feels
off of
real for Mac, then it might be real. That's what we go by.
Well, it's not real. This is based off of the information that the show has given us, not anything else. Based off of the information that the show has given us, it is just ones and zeros. It's not souls. It's not anything that the Darkhold has done. It is just a program that they have put together. Even in this, Radcliffe says, like, I programmed it using the Darkhold, but it's just a computer program.
I'm
so
willing
just
to-
based off the information the show has given us, we've not seen any weird Darkhold, like any magic gone on in the simulation at all.
But
if there had been a thing where it was like, oh no, what is this? This is Darkhold, then I would agree with you. But the only thing we've seen is that it is a computer simulation.
But then you can make the same argument for Aida / Ophelia now. Does she have like a quote unquote a soul? And now, like, when she was a robot, okay, you could say like, no, she's just a computer program. But then she was infected with the Darkhold, and does she have a soul then? But now she's inhabiting a flesh and blood body.
But it's just programmed information put into a
She's
body.
a magic
we are?
printer.
We are a collection of experiences
Are we?
that have
and she's a collection of experiences as
no,
well.
she's a collection of downloaded information
Now-
that was put into her
And
Again,
a couple weeks ago.
But we're a collection
I'm-
of downloaded information
Get
via
control,
our
Megan.
eyes, via our ears.
I'm willing to entertain the
Yeah.
notion that Darkhold magic has messed with technology and programming. And
We
again,
have not seen
when
any
you-
proof of that
when
in the
you
show.
when you bring in magic,
Yeah.
it means that they can play around with the rules a little bit. What I am concerned about
Yeah.
is that she has absolutely used Darkhold magic to build herself a body, and literally every bit of media that I've ever consumed where you use dark magic to build yourself a body, it never ends well. Or
That's true.
9 out of 10 times it doesn't end well.
9 out of 10.
9 out of 10 times it
Much
usually
better.
doesn't end well. And I know I
Oh,
mentioned
that
this last
1%.
week.
There's that 1%.
I mentioned it last week, but Full Metal Alchemist story bits keep running through my brain, and I'm really concerned. I feel like there's a distinct possibility that by the time we get to the last episode of this season, her body could start to unravel in a really weird, horrific body horror sort of way.
Ugh.
Ugh.
love
Because
it.
a body like that a body stitched together with dark magic could be unstable. Would you want to do that to Little Hope, Tehran? Would you want to do that to that
I
little
wasn't
girl?
trying to bring Little Hope into the real world.
No,
what I was saying
Zach
is that
brought
in the
up.
framework
Yes, Zach!
world, it
Why do you
felt
want to
very
kill
real.
Hope?
Whoa.
Zach just said it was possible.
Yeah, Zach was the one who said that we should mutilate Hope. Out of everyone on this, Zach was the one who was like, guys, what if we just like let her body unravel in the real world until she became a weird spider monster made of organs and eyes? Zach said that over there, and I was like, whoa, okay.
I'd watch that.
I would also watch it.
But I will say something that will make me a bad guy.
Yeah.
And just like while I'm watching the end of this episode where Aida comes to life, like Ada's a
We haven't talked about this.
Ada Nightcrawler. She
gave
bamfed out of the
herself-
room.
She
And
bamfed.
alright, now
Okay,
here's the
but hold
question.
on, but like while we're still on these like real weird heady
Philosophical
philosophical
questions.
debates, Aida like comes back and she's in this real body, whatever it is. I am finding like after that, I find myself more on her side than before in a weird way. Like her just watching her.
So having
like,
a body
feelings-
makes her correct.
Well, but watching her feelings, like the
Is this happiness?
is this happiness line? I think
Sure.
hit me the hardest. Where
Yeah.
it's like she was a collection of ones and zeros before, and she was following the programming that had been that Radcliffe had built into her.
Yes.
But now this is the first time that she has free will, and it's very clear that she is being driven by love.
Or at least obsession.
Or at least obsession, which is
Also very human.
the most base form of love. And
I don't know.
I more want to see what she does next before I need to see what she does now to decide whether she's a good guy or a bad guy, because I honestly think that depending on where, and that's sort of the beauty of the show, is that she'll probably fall in a gray area, but how could, if you were in her shoes, how could you really argue that you would have done a whole lot different? Maybe the Hydra world thing.
Well, no, I think she acted completely rationally, like a computer would. She just got rid of the things that were in her way, which happened to be humans that she killed and replaced with other robots, or just put them in another world.
But if this was the only way for her to gain free will...
Yes, I'm saying that to her, she is a good person, but she has murdered a lot of people.
Sure.
She's murdered a lot of people to get
a lot
to this
of
point.
innocent people.
So have some of the best people that we consider heroes.
Sure.
It depends on what side you want to fall on that coin. Her point is to become real. Pinocchio has become a real boy.
Yeah.
So the question first should be,
a Jiminy Cricket, though.
is Aida real now that she has a real body? Does she actually inhabit a soul? And you're saying no because you're like, oh, there's no proof that she's not a real person. Like, we can also make the equal argument that she is real.
There's 100% proof that
it's a
she's not real.
conversation. What?
Okay, that her entire brain exists on a computer.
Listen, and all that is a great analogy for how we are created as babies in the womb. We are just genetic code. We are ones and zeros on this like molecules that just look twisted.
Well, it's like 4 different
DNA
letters,
is.
but
DNA.
But our existence, what makes us us, is not something that is decided by someone else. It is the collection of our experience and decisions we've made. Aida has existed for a couple months. Everything else, her brain was created by Radcliffe. All of her ideas...
And some of the greatest philosophers would disagree with you. Descartes would disagree with you.
While,
I think, therefore I am.
Does
Aida think?
Hold on, guys. While we're still having this, I want to turn to the chat. Chat, just like real quick, make it easy for us to see. Hashtag robot or hashtag real girl. I want to know what you guys think.
We should put up a poll on Twitter, on the ABTV
I would say
on Twitter.
Descartes would agree with me, because I think therefore I am was him saying that there's no proof that that anyone else outside of yourself exists.
Exactly.
There is proof that none of the people in the framework exist, because there is this world.
Once they start thinking independently,
you have no proof that
they
they're
exist.
Thinking
But let's see if Aida. That's a discussion.
Yeah.
That's not just I'm right because I say. This is a discussion. So you can't just say no. It's done.
Gentlemen. Regardless of whether
Me and
or
Tehran
not
are gonna fight. We're gonna get in a fist fight.
Regardless of whether or not philosophically Aida is a real girl or a robot, it's kind of a moot point. Again, she is...
It's overwhelmingly for real girl in the chat, by the way.
Like I said, I'm not going to make any friends on this. Just because something's popular doesn't mean it's right.
For the first time,
one vote for cover girl.
Exhibiting
I vote for cover girl.
She is exhibiting emotions as close to a real person as she has ever gotten.
Yeah.
And in this moment, she thinks she knows happiness. When her dark magic body starts to unravel,
she becomes a spider full of eyes.
She will know fear, and that is gonna destroy me. But
can we talk about the fact that she has a power?
Yes,
she bamfed. What the hell?
She gave her new human body. She either made herself an Inhuman, or she gave her human body magical upgrades, like a wizard.
I have my. So in the framework, we watched them rip apart and study Inhumans.
Yeah.
Both before and after going through Terrigenesis.
Yes.
Yep.
So I think she basically created a Weapon X super scroll
something like that,
LMD combo unit thing, where that's only the first of the powers that we're gonna see her have.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well.
Oh, that's gonna be so cool.
Yeah.
Even within the context of the framework, Hydra was working on super soldier serum. I mean, they gave May that dose that was able to make her go toe to toe with the Patriot.
Which was the hint of peppermint. That was the Hyde formula.
Yeah, we had viewers mentioning that was actually the Hyde formula, which nice.
While
Good catch, guys.
Using the universe as the template would also suggest, where did she learn how to use teleportation as a power? So if she's taking apart people and learning about their powers, as we've seen, then where did she dissect someone who had teleportation powers? Now that is a question.
Gordon.
Oh my gosh.
Exactly.
Hydra in this world could have
Exactly.
taken...
Like, this isn't, its
Oh,
implications is greater because it's just like anyone that even steals powers, you'd have to have that power in front of you to be able to figure out how
Oh,
it
man.
works.
She
straight up
got...
silered this.
She did. She's a siler.
She went ahead.
There's
I
no
mean,
season
she
after
had
season 2
access
as far as I'm
to
concerned.
S.H.I.E.L.D. databases
Shut your
at one
mouth.
point. So yeah, she probably learned all about the Inhuman sanctuary that was being run by Sky's mom.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah, she probably sent Hydra in there, captured all those Inhumans, and dissected all of them in the way that Whitehall dissected Daisy's mom.
That would make
Jeez.
this new Aida virtually unstoppable.
Possibly.
It would take the fires of hell to stop Aida.
Ghost Rider.
Wait,
Conveniently, we know a guy who's got those.
Oh, guys, you know who could settle the argument about whether or not she has a soul?
Ghost
Rider.
He could do the penance stare.
and if she burns,
If she
then
burns, she's got a soul.
Clearly, we need Robbie to come back from whatever sort of weird transdimensional vacation he's on to get back here and penance stare Aida.
But that would be a great ending, and not to get in prediction territory also, but that would be a great ending, and it would also solve a lot of Fitz questions as well. So maybe that's a possibility.
That'd be good.
Do your sins in the framework count in the real world?
Yeah.
And that's
Him killing Mace and Agnes probably certainly do.
for the people that are asking, chat, Gordon was the blind teleporter.
Inhuman.
Season 2.
Inhuman,
In season 2.
from
So sorry, should have
from
clarified.
season
Three.
Three.
From
No,
season-
it was season 2.
It was season
Was
2.
that
yeah.
season 2?
Yeah, it was
season
Yeah.
2, guys.
Remember season 2 had the big break in the middle, and
Oh.
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gordon.
Gordon.
Good old Gordo.
First half was Hyde, second half was Inhuman, mommy, daddy.
Yeah, what was it called? Sanctuary?
Sanctuary, yeah.
Yeah, was
Yeah.
it Sanctuary? Yeah. And
Guys,
all
it's been a
that
long
entailed.
time.
Yeah. It's,
All that
Wow.
entailed. But yeah, that's a lot to sort of take in.
Yeah.
Before we get to the rest of the episode, though, I want to take a quick moment to talk to you guys about iTunes. Folks, thank you so much to everybody who's gone to iTunes to rate, subscribe, leave a comment. We love hearing from you, and we love that we have an international audience. And before we get to our iTunes comments, I wanted to give a quick shout out to somebody who actually sent us their iTunes comment from one of the international stuff real quick.
Is it Ivan Soto?
No, but go ahead and read out Ivan's if you have it on hand. This one is from @SKC_86.
Oh, yeah, I saw this.
Hashtag only love. In the past year, I've traveled halfway across the world. My love for this amazing podcast never grows old. And then wrote again, this is my second review for the podcast on iTunes California. My first was in iTunes India several months ago. I don't mind if I don't get a shout out, but I need Felinda fan fiction for sure. You guys rock.
Oh, no.
not the only person reminding us that we
Leo's
made that promise
fanfiction.
under much heat exhaustion.
Not we, you.
We were delirious. The air conditioner wasn't working and the studio lights are very hot.
But yeah, thank you to you guys who wrote us the reviews on iTunes. So yeah, AKD George also said, hope this gets Zach motivated to write that fan fiction. Thank you, A Master E, Alan the Bright Posey, DK Momentum, Aaliyah Sunshine. I'm sorry I mispronounced that. Jay Batistilla, I'm terrible today. Frey 1776, Serpentina Lynn, I do not ship Shady Mariah. Sure. And A Fools 1. Thank you guys. Thank you to everyone who's rated. We have just hit 500 customer reviews.
Wow.
According to iTunes, and over 650 total ratings.
Wow.
That's incredible. Which
Over
me-
615 of which have been 5 stars. You guys are the best.
I feel
guys-
like that met the quota.
Guys,
It did.
preview for this fanfic. Coulson has his robot hand back. That's all I'm saying. But I'm just saying he He has his robot hand,
And he uses it.
He uses it. Yeah, he uses it.
And he uses it.
Yeah.
Oh boy! Again, thank you guys so much. It is genuinely the best way to let our producers know that you guys like the show that we're putting on, that you like hearing us sit here and have philosophical discussions, and shipping discussions as well. Thank you guys so much. Cannot say that enough. So to get back to it, shall we?
Can we talk about how cool Radcliffe was?
Let's talk about him because we had kind of a turnaround in this episode too.
Yeah.
We think that for the promise of immortality, which was really driving him throughout most of this season, was trying to cheat death. We feel like we get the idea that the promise of immortality is enough to get him to betray the agents team that we have as a way to save his own skin. And it turned out that no, he recognized when the Darkhold clouded his mind, and he in the end he ended up doing the right thing.
He Professor Snaped it.
He did it to He did it to
Professor
save Fitz.
Snaped it. Yeah.
He totally snaped it.
Yeah.
Hashtag snaped it. Yeah, he was like the only way I knew I could get him here is if I told him.
Well, I
that
think
it
that
was.
yeah. I think the Darkhold doesn't have any hold over him anymore because he's just a computer program.
Or
He's not. He's a consciousness. See, that's what I mean. He's not just.
But this is, but I guess this is just what
I feel
his
closer
physical.
to Tehran on this one than him being a computer program.
So
Now,
the Darkhold
yeah.
has a grip on his physical brain. His physical brain doesn't exist anymore.
he's-
I guess it
Yes.
depends
super
on
dead.
how much
How the Darkhold magic works.
yeah.
Yeah.
But at least whether it's the loss of his physical body or just being trapped within the framework and having a lot of time to reflect on his life and his choices.
I mean, he has a lot of data that is now making predictions on how that data would react to these situations as a consciousness.
I feel like when we talk about the Darkhold, and we always try to think of it like a negative force. Sure,
Because
it
it's
has,
evil.
Because it has an ominous name.
It created
also-
the Boo Crew!
Yeah,
Sure.
It's also evil. Like
It corrupted
Yeah.
Eli!
Evil, and so we're saying that
literally
evil is
everyone who's ever
finite,
touched
like
it.
everything that's good or bad. I'm saying this is that it seems to be that the Darkhold, much like almost anything, it's a tool that if you are any part evil, it amplifies that. However, it doesn't have to affect you. And
in the
you
comic
can
books,
obviously
nothing has pointed to it not being evil.
get away from it. You can get away from it.
No
And in the
one-
comic books, we do see people get away.
No one send Tehran any dark possessed magical items
don't.
because he would be the type of person that would be like, we
I'm
can
gonna
use
do
it
it
for
for
good.
good.
I mean, it's not about using it for good or not, but because we're all it seems like everyone's so shocked that Radcliffe was able to, in a way, overcome it, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, no, it has to come down to Radcliffe's intentions, and the intentions changed. And when Radcliffe sees that there's no longer the good that he perceived in it, he was able to overcome it.
He wasn't counting on dying, and he certainly wasn't counting on Agnes dying either. So, those two things, if any, say the Darkhold was continuing to cloud his mind, I feel like those two things out of everything could make him recognize where in the grand scheme of things he became corrupted by it. At a certain point, you have to step back and understand, oh, I was allowing this thing to influence me, and now it's cost me everything.
I could be wrong, but was the Darkhold made by the devil?
Was it made by Mephisto?
I don't know that I've
we
ever seen that spelled out, but it's pretty evil. It's
Oh, how great
filled
was
with
that?
everything about vampires and creating werewolves.
Sure.
If
and,
you remember at the very top of the
Both
season,
misunderstood creatures, by the way.
in
But go on.
at the very top of the season, there was a lot of rumors in terms of our news and gossip section, because Gabriel Luna mentioned Mephisto in an interview just as an offhanded comment, and everyone's like, ooh, are we gonna get Mephisto this season?
Or Darkchild?
How funny would it be if Mephisto came and dragged Aida to hell at the very end
And
of
then
the
we would know
season?
she has a
Be
soul.
like, what the
What just happened?
Well, then at least we would know that she has a soul.
Listen,
if that happens,
I don't want to go Marvel universe, but people without souls have been dragged to hell in the Marvel comic book universe.
that's just like buying a MacBook and then taking it down.
They've been dark branded and brought down. Yeah.
Well, because also hell in the MCU is not
the
like
same.
a place where your soul goes. It is an alternate dimension that a
Yeah.
physical being can travel to.
Yeah.
I did love how not to go back to the talks about the soul, but I did love Mack's comment of, "You did not just use the Bible against me."
That was really funny.
Gotta part the Red Sea.
Yeah.
Which,
Of
that was
course,
great.
part the Red Sea.
That makes
I
so
don't-
much sense.
If I was Daisy and I had quake powers, that would be my first thought to any problem that came up to me.
Quake
like,
it.
whenever there was an issue, I'd be like, oh, I can just use my quake powers.
We can't find the remote. Just quick through.
quick
It'll
through.
turn
Quake
on.
the TV until you get to
Yeah.
the right channel.
Okay, so me not getting the Darkhold is akin to you guys not getting any power whatsoever.
I
by the way.
100% agree.
I would abuse it. I
Don't
would
give
abuse
me
it
powers.
so
So
badly.
did we ever figure out how Sky uses the power without actually hurting any of her bones? Because
well,
this is an actual intense use of the
If
power.
Yeah.
you notice, I guess since it is in short, it like normally under normal circumstances, I feel like this really would have physically messed her up because she doesn't have her gauntlets. I think part of it is a mind over matter thing of she and Gemma more than anybody know that this isn't real. So whatever pain she's feeling as she's using her abilities to keep open the portal, she can fight.
Then
through
her
it.
mind must be much more stronger than Gemma's, because when Gemma got shot, she went down.
No, I think it's more when
Well, it's a
Daisy
control
first
thing,
when
too.
Daisy first got her powers, she was able to use them without like immediately being
Feeling
like
pain.
in huge pain and shattering her bones. It was
was
over
over
time
time.
she started to get fractures. So I think basically she's only been using it for like half a day.
over time and recklessly.
Yeah.
Very recklessly.
And it's like now
Like, where's
she-
the remote?
yeah. Like now
My hands would be glass within a day.
the opposite
like
of unbreakable.
where she is now in the MCU, like she's just broken those bones so many times that they
Yeah.
are fragile.
Yeah.
But
fair.
this in the framework version, her bones are perfectly like healed and like ready to go.
They're fine. They're brand new bones.
So they're slowly fracturing, just like not yet.
Just
But
don't do
she's
it
like,
too
no
much.
big deal. I'll be out of here by the time my arms break. It's fine.
Yeah, she was in the Hulk cabin practicing with her powers.
Speaking
In
of
season 2.
speaking of Gemma, let's talk about Gemma's like kind of botched rescue mission a
Oh,
little
God.
bit. Because on the one hand, I was like, yeah, don't mess with Gemma when she first showed up
Yeah.
at Alistair's door. I was like, that's what you get for messing with Gemma. This scene did not play out in the way I expected it to.
It was really dark.
I did anticipate him going like, oh, the fugitive is here, like, come save me, or like, I wasn't expecting him to tackle her and then to have her shoot him in self-defense. That got really dark really quickly.
My big question with that is the gun was on the other side of her, on the right-hand side, and he got shot on the left-hand side in the belly. So either he had a gun or Gemma had a second gun, is what I'm saying.
No, I think she just angled it at a weird.
That's an amazing shot.
I didn't catch that, but yeah, I mean,
Have you ever shot a gun?
maybe
Yes.
it just went through.
Are you a really good shot?
I'm not a bad shot. Yeah.
Not as easy as it looks, is all
I've
I'm
shot
saying.
No, it's not easy at
paintball
all.
guns. Does that count?
It actually counts more than not shooting a gun at all. It's
Yeah.
just not as easy as it looks when it says. So that minute detail could be something, but when it comes to that interaction with Gemma,
Yeah.
a lot of things have gone down where I'm like, that's the least of
Oh
what
yeah,
happened
it was
to
just
Gemma.
it was just
Yeah.
for sure. Like the most important thing is like he threw a phone at her and tackled her, which is
Exactly.
amazing. And more importantly, knew he was making himself a martyr to make sure to make sure that Fitz stayed the thing that he was supposed to be.
Which-
Like his programming was so strong from from Aida to make sure Fitz stayed to be this man.
I love how you try to slide in a little programming bit, but
well,
we don't know.
no,
Maybe
I thought it was
decision.
100% like this was the programming, like his programming, because Fitz's whole program, Ada's whole program was like, make sure that this one thing stays that way in this world. So his programming was so strong that he knew he was going to die, or end, or whatever a program knows, and made sure that the final act was to make sure that Fitz stayed the way he was.
Well,
Yeah. Interesting point from Geek Talk with Rachel in the chat.
Yeah.
She says, I can't believe Gemma would try to talk to Alistair like that as if he'd listen to her.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Was that like a good plan, or was that like a bad plan, or was that just Gemma?
I don't think here's the thing. I don't think it was a terrible idea, because considering I don't think she's ever met Alistair in the real world.
No.
She only knows him secondhand from Fitz. So
And he doesn't seem like a reasonable person.
No, but when you're pointing a gun in someone's face, and again, she's kind of at a desperate point too, because she's seen Fitz commit acts that he would never commit in the real world. And everyone is basically writing him off. This is a last-ditch effort to try to save him before they all go back.
Yeah.
So, like, in her mind, she's like, I'm rescuing him.
Yeah, I think Gemma was kind of desperate at that time. She just had that conversation with Daisy, where Daisy was like, we'll just leave Fitz. We'll leave Fitz in the framework, and we'll free everyone else. And I think
We'll get back to him.
And Gemma is in love with Fitz and does not.
Yeah.
He
and,
crossed the
Fitz
universe
across
for
the
her.
So
universe
now
for her.
you understand love and you understand emotion and
Yes,
making
when
an
it's between
emotional
real people.
decision. So what I'm saying is, Mack. Okay, when it comes to Mack, it still felt real, even if he knew it wasn't. And second of all,
Yeah.
Gemma this is when logic should have dictated, and this was not a smart decision.
Yes, I've never said that people don't make illogical decisions. I was saying that Mack made the wrong decision. I'm saying that Mack decided to leave everyone who cares about him and loves him and what we understand to be the real world. I will not say that the MCU is the real world, but what is understood as the real world until proven otherwise, decide to leave those people behind for a bunch of code. And I think that was the wrong decision.
I'm thinking when Gemma goes and tries to talk to Alistair, that was the wrong decision.
Well,
I agree. I 100%
I
agree.
didn't anticipate-
She could have killed him immediately.
I didn't anticipate that Gemma would be the one to kill him. I was thinking from the interactions that Fitz and Alistair had in the last episode, that Alistair was going to do something and Fitz was going to be like, you failed me for the last time, father, and then drop him like out of an airplane or something like that.
Yeah. If he'd recreated what Ward did.
Exactly. See,
Yeah.
all that, but in this framework universe, if they're like, hey, people are not real, then why didn't they just simply kill anyone that disagreed with them at any point or anything?
Well,
that went
Gemma
wrong?
talked
They
about
could've
doing
just-
that.
They could have
She
just
proposed
killed everyone.
She proposed doing that. She was like, none of this is real. Who cares? Like, why are we saving all the children in that thing?
They're
none of them
not
are
real.
None of them
and
are real.
they certainly don't have any qualms about shooting people who get in their way.
Yeah, they do. it
But
all
they
the
don't
time.
do that, and they also do that. It's the same action they do in the real world. So if they feel like someone from Hydra or Hive or anyone is a bad guy, they just shoot them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
my thing is, they save the children because humanity is still real,
They
no matter
saved
what
the
framework you
children
live in.
because
I agree,
Coulson
but-
and Mace were acting like
I
they
agree,
were
but
real.
Gemma proposed to not. Gemma has proposed to not interact like.
And
they were
Gemma's
real
also
people.
in love with Fritz Psycho, so maybe she has a little bit of darkness in her.
Well, no.
that we
What
don't
I'm saying
know
is,
either.
you were saying they weren't talking about that. And
Yeah.
I was saying they did. They did talk about doing that for sure.
Yeah, they've talked about that in the past. But anyway, I do want to talk a little bit about Trip in this episode.
Trip was the best.
For one, you mentioned it at the top of the
Yeah.
show. Him becoming the new Patriot would be the best. It would absolutely be the best. But not only that, one of the more tragic parts of this episode is Daisy kind of having to come to terms with the fact that he can't go with them.
Yeah.
And we see that, at the top of the episode, she embraces him, she hugs him, and he's like, hey, person I don't know.
Yeah.
But probably my all-time highlight of this episode, with the exception of that excellent shot of the world digitizing after Coulson went through, was Daisy and Trip talking about, so we dated, right? No. Me and Simmons dated, right? No.
A lot of people wanted that one, Trip.
Yeah.
Didn't happen.
We were
People
pushing
wanted it.
for it. We were rooting for it. May?
My highlight was Daisy and Hope doing the butt synonym off.
That was great
was
too.
adorable.
Dad, don't embarrass me.
Salt
You're-
shaker was my favorite.
You're embarrassing me in front of the superhero. That was so precious. We should probably touch on May and Coulson's relationship
Sure.
in this episode too, before we get on into predictions, because a lot of this episode stemmed around Coulson still being, kind of the bookish teacher, becoming the head of S.H.I.E.L.D. again and the face of the resistance after his broadcast in the previous episode. And I love the kind of, it had, like, the dynamic that he had with May in this episode was like shades of season 1 mixed with shades of this season, because you have a lot of season 1 May stares, where instead of talking, she'd just stare at someone and be like, really? And they said in some behind the scenes interviews that they would sometimes write lines for May, but then like they would see Ming-Na like just give a look instead, and they're like, yeah, we don't need that line, that's perfect. And we get that a lot in this episode, but we also get a lot of, like, I don't want to call it shipping fodder, but like a little bit of shipping fodder that we've been
like he
getting.
literally like picked her up, Phil picked her up in his arms
Yeah.
and carried her.
I mean, he asked her to make a leap of faith into
They took the
the
plunge
void.
together,
Yeah.
guys.
I also like how this episode and the last episode have just enforced how, like, the last episode May was doing like backflip cartwheels while shooting 2 guns and taking out a bunch of people, and this Coulson got shot by 4 guys, and May was like, oh, okay, I'll take it. It just shot all 4 of them. Like, it was nothing. Like,
Oh, that hurt so much, like, to see Coulson just get
shot, yeah.
boom.
and when he was like,
gotta
this feels familiar.
That was strong.
I gotta say, I haven't had that strong of an emotional reaction. Like, I haven't felt like Coulson's life has actually been in danger.
Yeah.
Since he grabbed the Terrigen crystal and his hands started like crystallizing.
The left hand.
And then Mace,
and the
Mace
time
asked
before-
him a question.
And the time before that, you mean Mack.
Or Mac. Yeah,
Mack
Mac asked him.
asked him a question.
Their name is very similar
Very
without
similar.
a vowel.
But then, yeah, it of course brings up a lot of memories of the Avengers, just the first time he died, which
Yeah.
is really weird that you have to qualify how many times he's bit it. But yeah, in this moment, I was genuinely afraid he wasn't going to make it out.
So here's interesting that you brought up the Avengers, and I'll tell you why. We still don't know what happened in Tahiti. Okay? So how...
Yeah, we do.
We really don't, though. We really don't understand it. Do you understand the science behind bringing Coulson
I mean,
back?
I don't understand the science behind any of the theoretical science.
Using
Kree blood.
Kree blood and
Sure.
sciencey magic.
Yeah.
Fury brought Coulson back to life and then rewrote his memories.
So what I'm saying is that we rewrote his memories, right? And we basically gave him the experience. Well, the reason I say that is because when you said the Avengers thing, I'd always been thinking that using Kree blood is not enough. Like, hey, I inject you with Kree blood, you came back, that's not.
It's magic alien blood.
Yeah. So-
because in this world, magic and science are the same thing.
So I'm just saying, like, these experiences and how Coulson is, we
Yeah.
still think he has a soul. That's why it's like
I don't think anyone has a soul. I don't believe.
Okay, so that's
I don't
a personal
believe,
thing.
I don't believe in a soul.
Yeah, just because a character's created on a page doesn't give them a soul, you guys. They're characters on a TV show.
yeah, none of this is real. Just like
But
none
it
of
is
this
though.
is real.
But it is. But it
Does
is
not
though.
matter.
Yeah.
A point being that Coulson nearly bit the dust, but
Again.
but
Again, he almost died. And his
Major
this
bummer.
feels familiar was really
It hit home.
Yeah.
It really
It was
did.
like, oh yeah, he was stabbed in the stomach.
It hit home, but like, what? It is interesting though that like even when he's like, "Come with me," May's still like, "I can't do that." She literally has to see the world start to crumble around her before going, "Oh, okay, yeah, I'll hop. I'll go in there."
May doesn't really take leaps of faith. She
No,
needs
that's not her
concrete
style.
proof, and she got it like just in time. But she got proof.
Well, it's more interesting that Coulson always has that. He's the guy that when he gets shot, he has that extra second after death to do something right. Like he never just died. Like
He did shoot Loki pretty hard.
You've
It was
shot
great.
guns. Have you seen anyone die? They just kind of just die. I have. And
That's
what happens
Coulson's
is-
special ability.
Exactly.
He
Can
gets-
we talk about
That's
that?
his mutant ability.
That's
He gets-
his Inhuman power.
Yeah, it's like if he dies, he gets
gets shot.
he gets a +1 hit point
He gets enough
to keep
seconds
fighting.
to do the next best thing right after. Like no matter what. Like leap of faith. He got shot a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
He got shot 4 times.
He got shot 50 Cent numbers almost. He
Yeah.
was about to drop a rap album after this.
Oh,
But
Coulson,
instead he
do
took
it.
a leap of faith and it was like he had the
Clark-
right words. He's not growling in pain. He's not like
He's not coughing up blood.
Listen,
If Clark Gregg and or Phil Coulson want to drop a rap album, I fully support
Also,
it.
if Tony Yayo wants to join S.H.I.E.L.D., I
You also support-
I also support,
support
that. He and Young Buck can join S.H.I.E.L.D. The game will sometimes show up, but not all the time. It'll be great.
Oh,
I liked G-Unit when I was in high school.
a little much.
Yeah.
oh
It's
man.
hilarious.
All right.
Go ahead.
Well, I have some news and gossip.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is there anything else we want to talk about?
I have one thing I do want to talk about. Can we talk about Fritz being like, "Say I am nothing to you"?
Oh yeah, that
Yo,
was
that
crazy.
was so dark. Like,
You
get on
loved
your
it.
knees. Yeah, because get on your knees. Not pop.
I
Like,
know you
no.
guys have sometimes asked for reaction videos while we watch the episode. Sadly, we cannot do that. Just our setup doesn't work that way.
There's a lot.
But
There's
if
way
you
too much
guys-
swearing.
If you guys could have seen the reaction from Tehran, normally I'm the one screaming or jumping up and down. Tehran was like, "I love this."
like,
No,
He's the
it was
best.
gas. Yo,
Yes!
like it was just because it's such a dichotomy between Fitz's actual personality. It's
Yeah.
just interesting because this has to be a part of him and a part of him that we've never seen before. That coldness to be so quick, no react, just pop. Like get on your knees. No, pop in the knees. Say you are nothing. Say it.
Yeah.
That was dark, and I don't know how this. And the reason I like it so much is because now that they're in the real world, I need to see how this plays out because these memories feel real to both of them.
Yeah, and
and
here's-
Gemma's cannot get over.
And here's
this.
the thing: Radcliffe was the one that threw Fitz back into the real world, so it makes me think Daisy should have also thrown Mack back into the real world. But Linda Boo on Twitter makes a great point. Daisy should have quaked Mack into the portal. No memories equals not true decisions. And I think that she has a good point about that. Really quick, guys, let's get into some news and gossip, and then we got to do some rapid fire predictions to get on out of here.
All right. Spoilers, like massive, like this is a spoiler,
Spoiler
but like
alert.
we have to
Spoiler
discuss it because it was out there.
Thank you, Neil.
Spoiler alert.
Officially, Ghost Rider's coming back.
Yeah, we saw that pic. Robbie Reyes.
Yeah. It's happening.
I think both options are amazing. I think it's amazing if he takes her soul. I also think it's amazing if he grabs her and nothing happens. And he's like, I don't know what to do. Both
guess I'll
options are
punch it.
amazing.
this Ghost Rider in the comics,
Yeah.
like Robbie Reyes' Ghost Rider, like can just stand there while the Hulk punches him,
Yeah.
and he doesn't move. So like he has got some staying power,
Yeah.
whatever her power set may be. I'm really excited to see them go head to head, but let's do predictions
Yeah.
because we have no time to talk about that further.
AfterBuzz
Robbie
TV
Reyes coming
predictions.
back. I'm so excited. Neither here nor there. I feel like the crux of the episode, obviously they're fighting against a robotic version of the Superior. The submarine starts to go down. The plane that Simmons, Yo-Yo, and Daisy are on, and along with May's Cruz, who I've decided to call May's Bays this time. I'm sure we'll change it again later on. That plane's going down while the fight with the Superior is going on with the submarine. And Mack's fate is kind of up in the air. Is his consciousness gonna stay in the framework while his physical body dies, or is the framework going to be destroyed and therefore his consciousness as well? Or if the framework's destroyed, does his consciousness just get pushed back into his body?
Do not know.
No idea.
My prediction is the water's gonna go up. It's gonna look like Mack's gonna drown, and then we hear cut, and then we see that the real world is just a TV set, and these are all actors, and none of the actions matter. We see Clark Gregg and all the actors then go and get
posing for their.
And someone's like,
season
"Where's
one."
my check?
Yeah,
where's my Danish?"
Go and get
Producer
some.
starts yelling. They're like, "Mr. Spectre, I don't know what we can do."
They go and get some water. We go over to Crafty. There's of course red vines and little things of Doritos.
I do like this.
And then the rest of the season is just following the actors in Hollywood.
And then we pull back, and it turns out that's a show within a show within a show.
I think that I would love to hear from everyone what they think. Are they team Aida?
Oh, you definitely
Fitz?
won.
Okay. No, I'm talking about Aida Fitz
Oh.
or Gemma Fitz, because
How dare you?
No, and here's the thing.
Fitzsimmons.
Here's the thing. There's Fitzsimmons, right?
We've had that ship name
Yeah.
since episode 1.
Exactly.
Literally.
So my whole thing is, there's a part of me that really loves Aida, like Ophelia Fritz. Like, I just really deeply,
You ship it.
not so secretly love it. So it's just interesting, and I'd love to see this. But I think with the Ghost Rider coming back, we'll answer the question that is going on between.
I don't think that'll answer it at all.
I think the soul. No, I think it will. Like,
I want
don't think
him
so.
to pet and stare her.
And if the
It will be
stare
the
is
best.
there, then the soul is
Anyway,
there too.
I don't think there's such
Zach,
thing as a soul.
but guys, before we get into it, Zach, prediction, and then we need to go.
I predict this is just gonna be a crazy finale, and
2 episodes
Fitz is
left.
gonna be torn in twine. Not literally.
Oh.
I hope not.
His heart,
Jeez.
his heart will break.
Are you saying he's going to become a spider eyeball monster? Like you want for Hope.
Prediction: spider eyeball monsters, where Fitz and Hope run off into the distance as crazy Cronenberg monsters.
Not a Cronenberg universe.
Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We want to hear what your guys' predictions are for the next episode. In the meantime, Zach, where can people go if they want to keep up with you?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at @ThatZachWilson. Also, be sure to check out the Doctor Who and the Leftovers after shows. Both of those shows are so much fun. We do them on Sunday nights with great teams. On Sunday, because I know you guys are huge Marvel nerds, otherwise you wouldn't be here. Jesse and I are finally going to be back with Sci-Fi Weekly. We're talking about Guardians of the Galaxy, which comes out in a few days. I can't see it till Saturday, but we're going to talk about it on Sunday at 4 p.m. Pacific time. Join us. Popcorn Talk.
Tehran.
At I Am Tehran all across the board. I am Tehran, and I have a soul. Please find me, follow my soul at I Am Tehran. And Mondays and Thursdays, 10 p.m. at the Laugh Factory. I appreciate each and every one of
I
you.
didn't question it until you brought it up.
Hi, everyone.
Jesse.
Yeah, you can yell at me and tell me I'm wrong on Twitter and Instagram at JessKlein1. That's JessKlein, the number 1.
You're wrong.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I'm Megan Salinas.
Tweeting you right now.
I may have a soul, but I'm also dead inside. And you guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at the Menguin. That's TheMenguin. Thank you guys again so much for watching. We will see you all next week.
I really like that.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Soul you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.